Chris Lee, Kirk and Bubba back for another year. ESPN King of College Pigskin, make it clear. Winter in the weight room, summer on the practice field. May and January trip to MI-80, what it is. What's the deal? Who's for real? When's team will take a bite of the orange? Who's got the Heisman Trophy in their sights? BCS controversy, will they finally settle in? Put the best teams on the field, forget the rhetoric. Follow me, fire up the grill, baby, here we go. Passion for the pigskins in my bones, it's in my soul. Buckle up your chin strap, let's get it on. Load the whistle, mother days on the road with game day. It's official.
To that championship game. They got a taste, of course, in the Sugar Bowl, smacking the Sooners around for the BCS title. There has been talk of getting back there. Justin Vincent, the MVP, a freshman last year, he is back. So are many of the Tiger Stars. And the expectations are very, very high here. Exactly 4 hours after that triumph, Nick Saban turned his thoughts to tonight's game. Or at least today is the first chance for a couple of national title contenders to show how hungry they are. Ohio State and Oklahoma. Now the Sooners, of course, host Bowling Green. By the way, there's a MAC team that's 3-0 against the Big 12. But Kansas is not Oklahoma down there in Norman. Bob Stoops is 16-0 in September. They usually win their openers by 35-point margins. But they have been driven for the last 9 months by this game right here. The Kansas State debacle, 35 straight points. Jason White was beat up. Darren Sproles embarrassed the defense. And then LSU finished the job, ended the bid for Sooner redemption down there in the Sugar Bowl. Jason White took an undue amount of heat. He was the target by being the Heisman Trophy winner. Many of these negative stats the last 2 games versus the great stats for the first 12 games did fall on White's shoulders, but he wasn't totally healthy. He wasn't being protected. He has been fueled by that all off seasonally. He's come back healthy. He's come back leaner. He filed away all those negative comments. He is jacked up, and so are the Sooners.
Well, forget about last year. I don't want to talk about last year. Let's talk about this year. On paper, this is the best-looking football team I've ever seen assembled. They have no apparent weaknesses. Plus, they got revenge. They got pent-up anger. You know what? Oklahoma scored 50 points 7 times last year. Today, they get in the 60s. These guys are mean, mad, and good. Watch out.
Real big.
One of the most talented teams that you didn't pick to go to the national championship game. All right.
I know.
Now, Ohio State, they've got a couple of new quarterbacks they're breaking, and they also have a former defensive coordinator, Mark D'Antonio, now coaching Cincinnati. That's an intriguing matchup right there.
It is an intriguing matchup.
The old school helmet.
We'll see how well they work. Jason White shows Heisman form. Oklahoma had a little trouble stiff-arming both. Quick print on his forehead to remind everybody that Herschel did indeed get to play in his first game ever. Oklahoma and a Heisman Trophy winner, Jason White, taking on Bowling Green. Sooners opening drive, and this is the freshman, Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson, his first carry, nice game, kid out of Texas who was so highly touted. White upstairs to Mark Clayton. Clayton caught 15 touchdown passes last year. This is the first one of this season. 7-0 Sooners. But you know what? Bowling Green behind Omar Jacobs taking over for Josh Harris. Nice job.
I thought Omar Jacobs showed a lot of poise in this game on the road. See it on the run there. Nice pass, 18 yards to Charles Sharon, Reese.
24-41, threw for over 200 on the day, but Kewan Jones had a career day. 11 yards there, 150 on the afternoon for him. BG hanging in there, 14-10. Here's White to Clayton again.
And that's a wonderful connection. You're going to see a lot of that this year, but this is what I like. Look at Adrian Peterson right here. He hits the hole, but watch him burst through the tackle right there. That's where the acceleration comes. They've got a gem in Adrian Peterson. Remember that name for Oklahoma. He's a heck of a running back.
They got the running game going. Kewan Jones, $150. Adrian Peterson, 109 on 15 carries, 40-24. Didn't think that Sooner defense was really all of that stifling, but they did enough when it counted. White throwing for 3 touchdowns as he tries to chase a second consecutive Heisman Trophy. So a 16-point win, maybe not as big as many expected. Stoops has never lost a game in September, and he remains perfect there.
Two teams that sort of at the top, both Georgia and Oklahoma. I think when you assess them week one, obviously people kind of fighting through things, wondering what they need to work on. I think both, when you come out of it, both head coaches in that situation have to feel good about the fact that they've established the run. Both Georgia and Oklahoma down the stretch, when they lost games, they were not two-dimensional. They were a one-dimensional football team. The only thing, and you mentioned it, Reese, when I looked at both of those teams, Georgia against Georgia Southern, defensively, they certainly missed Odell Thurman, gave up way too many yards rushing to a Division I AA foe. And then Oklahoma, you mentioned it too. Oklahoma's defense is a very good defense. Give Bowling Green credit. But I'm telling you now, Mark, they did not play with the same intensity that they played with when Mike Stoops was a defensive coordinator. I know it's week one. I'm not saying they can't be a great defense. I'm telling you, they're not flying around the ball and knocking people out like they did last year. Maybe it's because some of the guys that were there last year aren't there this year.
Yeah, I think they're playing at the other level. But I'd like to go back to Mississippi State. When you go back to fundamentals with Sylvester Crooms, that's all he preached. Reese talked about the no turnovers, but here's a team, they only committed 3 penalties. They gave up 7 points. If you go to any coach out there, bottom line, don't turn the ball over, run the football, stop the run. Those are the major 3 things to win football games. That's exactly what Mississippi State did. You can't lose that at you.
You know, major story for me, not just for today, but for the whole weekend, Chris, was how every team out there has major issues. I mean, we watched Oklahoma, good on offense. I didn't think the defense played as intense as they had in the past. We've looked at LSU. USC, the offensive line isn't great, need wide receivers to step up. Michigan's starting a true freshman quarterback. Ohio State has issues in the passing game. Every team at the top, with maybe the exception of Georgia that looked pretty good on offense, both running and throwing, has major issues. That was the story for me. Everybody has a lot of work to do, but it is week one.
You're riding that Georgia dog for as long as
They got to win the national championship.
Well,
Come on.
They put you out on the limb. Ware did look good. The first freshman to start the opener. Herschel didn't even get to do that. Kirk, what stood out to you today?
Well, I tend to agree with Trev, but at the same time, I think you have to realize, and Trev, you touched on it, it's week one. They're going to make adjustments and try to rebound. The team that stood out to me by far, the Michigan Wolverines, and the defensive speed that they have in their back seven. They're able to move people around. It reminds me of the Michigan defense of '97 when Charles Woodson was out there playing corner, and they seemed to blitz and do whatever they wanted. This defense, I think, will apply that pressure, and that was a very good offense they faced. We'll see how they develop with a young quarterback in Chad Henne. The other thing is, guys, Rutgers, I think, is going to be bowl bound this year. Big win over Michigan State. You look at their schedule, very reasonable to expect Greg Schiano to have a shot at 7 wins and to finally get to a bowl game. I think, according to Chris Felica, of all the BCS conferences, they're the one team with the longest drought when it comes to getting to a bowl game. That'll end this year.
Rutgers, good call in the bowl game.